Welcome again to Pathfinder-UK, and I want to talk to you about another encounter and experience that I had with some jays over in Thailand some years ago. I was up in the central region there, not far from the Lao border, and I'd gone over to Nam Nao, which is a nature reserve up in that area, and I spent a week in that area just moving around and just generally bird watching and having a really cool and relaxed time. And I got some information from the local wardens saying that there was tiger about, they'd been seen, and that wild elephant were definitely around. So, when I went out that morning, I was kind of hoping, it'd be really nice to kind of encounter elephants, certainly, and if I'm really lucky, a tiger. And as you just saw, there's a track there, as the camera panned round. Where I was a bit of an open clearing, a bit like we're in now, with scattered trees, with a trail running up into the forest in the distance. And as I was walking up the trail, I kind of got in my mind's eye an image of a tiger. And maybe it was wishful thinking, I don't know, but certainly it felt like that a tiger had been down that trail. I sensed that there was a presence of a tiger, so I was kind of hopeful that I would see one. So as I moved up the trail and I got to the end of the trail, there was a bit of a rise, and I was just coming up onto the rise to go into the forest. And over to my left, a load of jays started kicking off. And again, it was one of them situations, even though there are jays in Thailand, it was something about the call that alerted me, it caught my attention, rather than me just saying, oh, it's just jays scolding something. So I stopped and I kind of looked around and I listened for a while. To see if I could see or hear anything, and the jays were still going for a good couple of minutes or so, at least 5 minutes, and then it all just quieted. Everything went back to the baseline, what I thought was the baseline anyway. The next thing I heard was this almighty crash, and I thought, oh God, what's that? And initially I thought, oh great, tiger, before I heard the crash. I thought, but then I got a little bit panicky, hoping not to encounter an angry tiger of any kind. But with the crash, I thought, it's got to be elephant or something like that. So I just waited on the brow of this hill and waited for a little while longer. Couldn't hear any movement, couldn't hear any sound of any kind that would indicate that there was elephant there. So again, I just waited for a little while longer, and it just remained silent throughout this whole period. So I thought, okay, I'm just going to edge my way forward. And as I started to edge my way forward, the bass rhythm, started to go back to normal. And as I moved down the slope and along the trail, I encountered a tree not too dissimilar to this one here. In fact, actually, if you can picture this one twice the thickness, and certainly this length, I mean the length of this is about 20 to 30 metres at the moment. And I saw this lying in a pile of bamboo. And one of the birds I was interested in finding out there was a bamboo woodpecker. And as most of you are probably aware now, woodpeckers are my favourites. And this had crashed right into the middle of this clump of bamboo. And I just stood there looking at it, and I kind of realised for a moment there that actually, in my head, I timed, had the jays not kicked off when they did, and I'd walked down the hill to this very spot, from that point of the alarm that the jays had given me, I would have been exactly on that spot when this came crashing down into the bamboos. Chances are I would have been moseying around the bamboos looking for the woodpeckers. So, it was a massive, this was a branch, not a tree trunk, this was a branch. I mean, we're looking at a tree trunk here. So what I kind of realised was that the jays had actually warned me of the impending danger. Had I carried on, potentially I could have been under this as it came crashing down. So I like to think, and I'd like to thank, that the jays were actually giving me an indication there, and they potentially saved my life that day. So that was quite a powerful moment, and I spent a few minutes kind of just soaking that up and kind of thinking about the implications of that, and also the fantastic aspect of just paying attention to nature. Even if you don't quite understand what it is they're saying to you, you know something isn't right or something's up, and you just pay attention to it and you just follow your intuition. So yeah, so that's the story of the jays in Thailand. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll have a few more for you coming pretty soon.